Good afternoon to Assistant Professor Teo Chi Kyung. We read in an article regarding the rejuvenation of Sala South. What does the rejuvenation of New Village represent, and how does it differ from other types of redevelopment of one place?
Thanks for the question, Jian-Hong. Yeah, I think this is a good question. Oftentimes that when we speak of an old community, I think probably what we hope is that to have some physical change in the urban authority. Redevelopment is almost like revamping and change to another new generation, which means that the previous model has failed, or maybe to have another new consideration. That is the things that I understand, that I've seen a lot of cities that have gone through redevelopment. But if someone who has actually really concerned about culture, redevelopment oftentimes will give a big impact to the culture, and of course it will impact the people's sense of the community definitely will be affected. Rejuvenation is that we try to rejuvenate, to bring something back to life. In this case, that take the New Village as an example. I believe that in 1960, 1970, the young children eventually grown up and become young adults and ambitious and energetic. Therefore, we see the golden time of the New Village in 1960, 1970. As far as I remember, when I was a kid, my father, they used to organize a lot of activities, and the village is so lively. Association organizing different kind of event, and people always come together to construct, to do something that benefiting the entire community instead of thinking about us. As it comes to 2000, most of these people who were young and born from the New Village, and they begin. I left my hometown when I was 18 years old. I went abroad and studied. When I returned to Malaysia, I chose to settle down in Kuala Lumpur instead of going back to the New Village. And the old generation, where like my father, they used to young, stay in the village, and they become old and no longer energetic. And that is why you see most of the New Village, actually all the elderlies, they don't want to live. In fact, if you ask them, ask the people, do you want to move out from the New Village? And because some of the houses, if you look at the condition, are not really good. No, they say they love living in the village. I think they really feel that the village environment, the houses are very, very livable, very suitable for, especially for the retirees. But the thing is that when the community is old, then it's really hard to continue to have those activities to bring out the people together. That is why now in the village they are more relying on the authority to help them to take care of the community, the things such as the ideas of the rejuvenations comes in because that we believe that a healthy community, as a healthy community, you should have different generation, different ages, groups of people, so that then you can have different kind of activities, and then the place will be more lively, and will be definitely good for all people living in the village. That is why I call the projects rejuvenation instead of redevelopment. Thank you.
All right. Thank you to Assistant Professor Teo Chi Kyung for the answer. Next question for Assistant Professor Teo Chi Kyung. With the redevelopment process involving the entire New Village community, any major setbacks or obstacles on the master planning?
I think that the largest setbacks for the problem that we are encountering is that there's no young people in the village. And also the obstacle is maybe due to the setting of the village. the new village in fact is a temporary plan. Yeah, at first, yeah, they thought that after the condition has eased, then these people maybe return back to their original land. The lands are leasehold, so the people do not own the land, which means that you are building a house on a piece of land that is not belongs to you. Yeah, you are leasing this land from the government. So this eventually become the obstacle when we are talking about the development of the village. Most of the village started in 1950. Now we are at 2020, right? So those who got 99 years leasehold, then it's almost come to the end. They only left with like 20 years or even lesser than that. Yeah. So and the people, they are afraid that maybe if they want to get involved in this, movement to upgrade their houses, then they were afraid that all their investment, then after 20 years you have to return your properties to the government. The developer will approach the villager one by one, yeah, and after they have got enough land title, then they will convert the land to commercial use, and then they will then starting to build high-rise. When the villager do not believe that this is a good place to continue to live on, and then or maybe their children no longer staying in the village, then they will sell the property, they sell the land to the developer. Yeah. So we are fighting with time. Yeah, we try to educate the people that how important or how good it is to continue to live in the village. Yeah, and also at the same time, we try to convince the authority that it is very, very important, very, very important to preserve the village. Yeah, as part of the history of the city. And also, I think every city we should have different variety of community. We shouldn't just have one kind, like in Kuala Lumpur, it would be sad if you can only see one types of housing and one types of residential area. I think the good thing is that if living in a city, you are able to have all these different kind of setting. I think that would be more fun.
All right, thank you, Assistant Professor Teo Chee Kiong, for your answer. Next is a question involving both of the speakers from Mr. Philip Tan and Assistant Professor Teo Chee Kiong. How would both of you describe the experience working with the community during the whole process? May I have Mr. Philip Tan to start the answer?
Working with the community, it's always like you're going into a new relationship with someone. It's really firstly to initiate, to say, introduce yourself, get to know them, and they will get to know you as well and what they're doing. And that's something that we have learned over 10 years. When you see a need or you see a way to help, but it's really to respond firstly and to understand them. And we have good involvements with communities, and also some communities where we work with them for many years but we don't see any result at all in terms of the common goals that we set together. And it's really working together with people. I think it's also part and parcel of psychology, so you have to know a bit more about the people. The experiences, overall it's really good, but it's firstly because you're coming in as an outsider, is to really pause and to also respond instead of reacting straight away. But is to go and say, how can we get to know each other better? Then we find a solution together. And that's really from our experiences working with both the rural and also the urban and marginalized communities.
Alright, what about Assistant Professor Teo Chee Kiong?
Yeah, well, I think this is a very good and interesting question to ask, especially from students. Yeah, because I believe that when you start your journey as a as a student, perhaps when you guys join architecture program or even some engineering programs, then you will get a lot of chance to go to the field and then meet with the people and talk to the community. I was a student. I work on a field project that is conducted by the professors, that I get to learn some basic skill to communicate with the community. That project was they have already engaged with the community and been informed, so we do not have any external that. But when I worked as a research assistant after I graduated from the university, I myself conducted, or maybe I co-conducted a research project with professors. And then, without the help of the student, I myself, when I starting to approach a new community, then oftentimes I will get chased away. Even sometimes I will chase by dogs. If you don't believe, you just simply go and knock anyone's house, and then people will treat you like a salesperson, and you always face this kind of thing. So then I have to learn a lot of tactics. How to make the thing easier. But now, thanks to the student, because most of the time I would, frankly speaking, if I'm working on these projects, it will be good if I have student with me, because when you guys looks like a student, and the people are more friendly to you guys. So then I learned some tactics, like, let's say, for example, when I visit a new place, usually I will stay there for longer. I would be just maybe sitting at some place and then start to do some sketches. Just do something that is quietly and interesting. Then people come to see what you guys, what are you doing. Then you get a chance to introduce yourself to the people. Definitely you will be protected at this point. And I think you will eventually you will learn some tactics. But after all, working with the community village, I find it I often have very happy experience. We have tried many rounds. I think thanks to the previous experience, and also we had some successful. I think Epic Home as well. I think we have some. After we have some successful projects, then the people perhaps will get to know you from different channel. That is why it's very important to keep a very good reputation. Let's say, as an institution, with the name of UCSI or maybe School of Architecture or Epic Home, it's really important to keep your reputation. So when you guys as a UCSI student, I think now still fine. You when you go out and you want to interview any community and talk to the people, just mention. If the people actually greet you and they say, oh, you are from UCSI University, then UCSI is a good university. Then you have to thank the senior. The people before you have done some good jobs. I think in that sense, I think working with the community is people who are trying to be sincere. People, when you talk to the people and let them understand what you're doing, you cannot hide. You cannot hide anything from them, and cannot lie to them. But then once you have a good experience, and these people will help you, will introduce you to another group of people.
I just want to add that as well, if you all don't mind. I think for us, we also have experiences where we work with developers to find out more about communities. These developers are very open because they want to know more about their community. Developers usually have a very bad reputation. A lot of them have bad reputations in Asia, and I think also we, as we also have to be very clear of our role when we go and approach these communities under these sort of circumstances. So when you guys are out there working in different careers and jobs, it's just to be very open and honest and to know what is your role, what my role is, and what I'm here to do. Once you yourself as an individual is being honest, and people will be able to see that. But if you're trying to hide it away and trying to put different masks on to try and get what you want, then it's very clear to people that you're there with the wrong intentions. So for us, like in the sense of working with the developer, we are very clear that we are. I think we are a social enterprise. In every project that we do, when community engagement, we also want to end it by sharing the results with you, so that they are aware. We've done this with you already.
Alright, thank you for both of the speaker of your interesting answers. Alright, if there are no questions from the audience, I will begin the closing of the forum. Before I begin the closing of the forum, I would like to deliver my appreciation to the organizer for giving me a chance to give a closing speech on such a meaningful occasion. Once again, I would like to express my gratitude toward our important speaker of the day, Assistant Professor Teo Chi Kyung and Mr. Philip Tan for spacing out their tight schedule to deliver an inspiring talk about city and community. Apart from this, I would also like to thank all of the audience for your participation. Today was definitely an eventful day. We were so glad that we were able to conduct a talk on city and community successfully. Hope that you all can be inspired by the talk given by our knowledgeable speaker, and together we march forward creating a better city and community for the future. We look forward to invite all of you again for the upcoming event. I will end my speech here. Stay healthy, stay safe. Thank you and goodbye.